Hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's Brooke here for your Wednesday afternoon. Just one thing. Let me turn my video on just so I can say hello to everybody face to face. Hi, welcome to Just One Thing on this January Wednesday. And we this is a fun topic. It reminded me of kind of the original days of Swell. So it's going to be great. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening to the recording. If you're not joining us live, both of those things are great. We always welcome your questions in the chat during the webinar. If you are listening to this later, always feel free to email us at support@swellfundraising.com or any of our emails that you have on hand. We want to always help you raise more money. Today's topic is Beyond the Event. And I changed the title a little bit as I got into it. And it's really about leveraging your hard work into a campaign, about extending that event into a 30-day long campaign. Really, because you work so hard on these events, we might as well use every ounce of it toward your fundraising. So it was really fun to dive into this topic today, and I want to make sure my screens are shared just properly. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to do one last quick check here. Yeah, great. Welcome to this. I look forward to talking about it. To start with, sorry for the stutter. To start with, we really need to reframe how you think about your event. And what this reminded me of is the original days of Swell, because we started Swell to do this. When I was faced with fundraising for a nonprofit that I cared about, I was on a host committee and my kids were busy and all my friends were busy with their kids. And so I knew that getting people to come to an event physically in order for them to give seemed like a really tall order, but it seemed less hard to get friends to just give toward an event or campaign that I was involved in and that I cared about if I shared it with them. And so the entire design of Swell and everything we've always been about is about every event being a campaign. You've likely heard that from us over time. But the reality is, you came to us because you like our table feature or ticketing or something that just makes the event process easier, a feature that your guests like, the donation process. So the reality is that you come to us for features that you like, and this is in essence our reason for being. And so it's great to have a moment to dial back into that. And I hope at the end of the day, our goal is always to help you raise more money and for your hard work. These events are a lot of work that you put into them. And so it's a way of extending that work and leveraging it further. And so the first step to that is to rethink the event and reframe it in your mind. And that means thinking of an event theme as a campaign theme. So when you name your event, what does it say that you can transfer into fundraising speak, for 30 days? Your event committee, to take that mindset of an event committee who might be helping you with setup or helping you with flowers or doing the tactical work of an event, and thinking of them as, no, this is my outreach committee, this is my campaign committee, that their highest and best use for you is to broadcast your event, your cause out to their friends and their passion. And then the event content, to think not just about what you do for the 2 hours of your event and pouring yourself into a great program and a video and the art and the speaker and all the things, right? All the things you're worried about. And to think about how to extend that into 30 days of fundraising and using it for PR fuel for 30 days. And so just thinking about how your theme of your event drives your content and how your committee can pull all of that together for you. So it's just rethinking, like I said, it's thinking about your event as a campaign, whether it's the start of a campaign, the end of a campaign. It's a fun launch process. But every moment, from the moment you start selling tickets to an event, the language around it can be join us or give, be a part of this in whatever way you can, and just widen the net of your event. In fact, fun fact, one of the original taglines for Swell was, I think, go beyond the venue, which no one really understood, I think, except for us, which was that idea of going beyond the four walls and the few hundred people that come to your event, and how to get beyond that. So, just thinking beyond that, is one of those things that sounds easy too, but it's hard because you're focused on the decor and the catering and the things that are all about having a great event. So, I understand it's easier said than done, but it can help you raise a lot more money. So we're going to go through 6 steps to help you transform your event from a one-stop shop to a 30-day campaign and to extend that hard work that you're doing. So, the first step really is to lock in on a unifying theme. Hopefully, your event has a name that you can build on. And so, don't think of event theme and event concept and fundraising goal. Think of them as one thing, and that everyone is driving toward this one mission, through the event. So choose an idea, and sort of by nature, something that works on your invitations, something that drives your program. It can be in your subject lines, and it's your story. So if your theme works for all those things, then you've probably landed on something really good. So a few examples here, like stage the future. That could be about a theater. And then the goal, rather than a number, could be we're fundraising for the facade, where you're doing this, through this campaign and through this event. You don't always have to have a tactical thing, too, because what you do every day, day in and out for your operations does this too. So, her spark starts with you, your funding leadership pathways, and then let's talk about summer camp and the summer camp programming or something that your organization does. Um, at the heart of the home, housing stability, and maybe what you're doing is helping support 10 families, through this. So helping link the event theme all the way to the outcome and the arc of the whole thing. So, and you'll find that makes it easier for you to speak to it on social media, and it becomes really organic to what you're doing. So, sometimes it's helpful to have a third party help you with that too. Sometimes you're so in it you can't break out of it. So, step 2, treat your event committee as a campaign committee. Event committees can open doors rather than stuff bags. So think about whether you can recalibrate your event committee. Maybe you have a group of volunteers that just love. I was thinking of one event coming up and I saw the name on the call, and I know that you have volunteers that show up and do wonderful florals. Well, you're not going to break that. They love that. They're passionate about it. It looks beautiful, probably saves you some money too. So keep that, but can you add to it? Can you have another committee or an outreach committee, something that helps you sort of bring in a campaign group a little bit so that aren't going to show up and do your floral. So I'm not, sometimes you inherit volunteers who are very passionate about their role with your event. And it's important to acknowledge that passion, and to foster it. But maybe they can be directed into kind of point in one direction, and you can find some people who fit this, if you struggle with that. Um, what you're asking them to do is lend their name and credibility, to the process. They're a part of the invitation process. They can be a part of the outreach process post event. You want them to feel responsible for personally inviting a short list of donors, particularly after you sell out, particularly once you're full. Can they say, hey, we're going to run the names of all the donors at the event, and I want your name to be on that. I know you can't come, you're out of town, you've got a soccer game, but join us in spirit, and what would happen if 5 people from a committee reached out to 5 other people, and you brought in 25 donors that weren't coming to your event. That alone helps you. Sometimes they can encourage somebody to make a stretch gift, somebody that maybe donated in the past that can't come, that made a nice donation. Maybe they can be a part of the match, part of the event in some way. And then help have them agree to do at least one post-event outreach. So let them know that following the event, you'll want them to spread the word to people who didn't come. And those are a couple of ideas to give them to help them do that. But just again, thinking of your event committee as an outreach committee and empowering them and pushing them to just send one email, forward this to five friends that can't attend. And or if it's someone that sat at their table last year and you know there's a really, really high value relationship, that's one way to do that. So, but to do that. We did that one year, and I think the committee was really surprised that that's all we wanted them to do. We didn't ask them to do anything, but it was a new event. We weren't inheriting any volunteers or anything. And their entire job was to share it with their friends, to show up, bring their friends, and to talk about it and like everything we put out on social media. And they were like, "That's all you want me to do?" Like, that's all we want you to do. And we honored them for that. We thanked them for that. And I think they felt a little guilty because we were so thankful for that more than they felt like they did. And yeah, it really worked. And so they brought all their friends and a lot of people who didn't come to the event. So it's a fun way to activate a group of people, particularly those who don't have the physical time to show up. So it's a good way to do that. So, all right. Any questions so far? Any concerns? Okay, let's keep moving. Step three. Now, this is a fun thing because I know you spend a lot of time on your event program. Well, think about that event program as not just a program, but as content capture and reusing that content. And a lot of you do this already on a limited basis. You share the photos on Facebook. You know, that's pretty um, that's pretty common nowadays to share but that's all we do sometimes is share a photo album on Facebook without an ask, without connecting it to people. It's just a photo dump, you know. Think about it as an asset because it is, and creating those assets. So if you build the program around that one core story, particularly if it lines up with your theme, that's really helpful. If you have a theme that's a little off of your mission, like say it's kind of a food centered event, a tasting or something like that. Um, that's still your story arc. You still can talk about the food, you can talk about the tasting, you can talk about the experience, and somehow capture that, you know, with why your organization does it. You know, if it's a cook-off of some kind, maybe it's the history of that event and then what it's done for your organization. Like, yes, thank you for coming and tasting all this great food and being a part of this event over years it's done this, you know, so connect the dots between the fun and the mission as a part of your story, but the story might have to be a little bit about your theme, if especially if it's a theme like a that's a little different than your mission. Look for one beneficiary voice. A program recipient's great to have there. I would add here also, which I should have added earlier, an authority voice. In thinking about this, we also want to think about the five tenets of fundraising, and authority is one of those. So if you have an authority figure, whether it's a board member, if it's a specialist in in a health field, if you're education and it's school, a principal, a leader, some clients you have celebrity figures that come in and speak. You know, the word authority can apply to a wide range of people, but have an authority figure stand up and talk about the need as well. Talk about the funding needs of the organization and what those funds help you do, and that clear call to actions, of course. We think it's great to have those call to actions periodically throughout a program as well. So, but think about it. You're building that story, and then capture the video clips, capture the quotes, even if you're not recording it. You know, a picture and a quote works great. A lot of people can capture great images on just a phone now. That clear impact statement and really great quality photos with your donors and committee members for you to then share for the 30 days post. So that combination of the program recipient, the people who've already funded it, because what we're going to get toward is trying to create in those 30 days FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh, I missed the event. I see that my friend was there. They've already given. I want to join in on this. This looks great. So connecting that dot for people in the 30 days post. Here in the picture, at the bottom, it says tonight launches our 30-day insert campaign name. I think it's great to announce that at an event where you're letting them know, like, hey, the fundraising doesn't stop here. All of you can be our voices. Every single person in that room hopefully has a great experience and walks out inspired. And so think of them all as potential voices. So equip them, put in an email to them, a post-event email. You are our champions. You heard our story. Forward this to a friend. and ask just a light ask to forward and to share your story with someone who isn't there. So consider everyone at the event a potential voice for you, even though you've leaned into your host committee. So, but you have a lot of content that you work on for that event and hope you'll use that and continue to use that. I would add also at your sponsors. It's a great way to loop your sponsors in for 30 more days post event and to really honor their role in your fundraising as well. So think of all of it as content. So don't let it in the day after the event. Fourth, launch that campaign within 48 hours of your event. I know you're tired. Sometimes it hits on a weekend, so it's hard to turn around and do that. I'm going to show you a couple of sites and what they did. And what that means from a swell standpoint is changing the header image, turning off the ticketing and tabling so that none of that is happening, changing the dates on it so that that site already is a fundraising site, changing that homepage so that it celebrates the event, put some pictures on there that you can share online. Here's what we accomplished together. Here's where we can go as a group. Join us. Clear call to action to join us, and turning that front page of that swell site into an asset for you to continue for those 30 days. The momentum you create from the event needs to be activated pretty quickly afterwards. So think about that. So thank your attendees, reinforce the theme, start to share some powerful stories or stats from the event, what you accomplished, maybe how many people donated, something that creates that like, wow, people are doing this. I want to do it too. You could show a remaining goal. You don't have to show a goal. You could just talk mission if you want to, and invite that continued participation from your community, particularly those who missed it. That's who you're trying to reach. I love this shift here in that you're not following up for a donation, you're continuing the reach. So it's not a look back, it's a look forward. And again, that's a little bit of a shift in how you're doing it. So and I think that sounds like a lot more fun. So, but let me real quickly let's make sure it's going to share properly. Um, I'm going to just make sure that you're seeing what I think you're seeing. Yeah, great. And so I'm going to show a couple of swell sites that transitioned into October awareness campaigns. This first one is when it's in ticket mode. It's called the Pink Frog Affair. The header image shows the musicians and the date and the location of this event. There's a ticket button on here, a sponsor button on here, just like you would expect. And then as soon as the event is over, the header image changes, and for record, it's the same image as a prior year. So once you've done this, you can actually use the same image you used in a prior year. So this was a prior year image because October is October, and their logo had not changed. So it's the same image, same graphic. So change that graphic out in the event header space in our branding section. Changed the wording here, took out the date and location of the event, and just made it October and online. And then put, instead of the invitation to join the event and all here, loaded in pictures, a collage of pictures from the event. This is a really fun thing to share online and to put in an email to share. Others create other types of event collages. This is just one example. And then this group has a very active host committee. And so they continue to really empower the host committee to continue the fundraising beyond and to hit some of their own personal goals. So this has a great host committee that is active both pre-event and selling tickets and active post-event in the October awareness. It also connects to some sponsors. There's some sponsors that do some activations during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they let this be the campaign site and use the QR code from this at their business locations if they're doing something for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in conjunction with this organization. Another one that does this is Safe Alliance. They have also an October breakfast, and October is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so again, similar, they changed the header out to be October Awareness Month from their Breakfast of Hope image, which was here prior to the event. And again, changing the settings here and switching out, with over 550 guests and 400,000 raised. So they sort of give you a nod into what occurred at the event in October, and transition this into a giving campaign throughout the month of October to further their mission and what they do. So it also relies on a little bit on the leaderboards and in tables. So they do use the table leaderboard for that. I don't know necessarily for the month, but they do during the event. So and activate their audience for a month-long campaign. So you're able to just quickly. The important thing here for you is it's quick. You just quickly change out that header image, put information from the event. A video would be great here, like a video from your event would be great here. And and as you may recall from talking to us, this system is designed so that you can share different pages. So if you wanted to share a video from a board member or share content from your event, these pages are designed for you to be able to share that link, in an email and all. People can click in, see what they want to see, but they're very easily able to see the fundraising activity on the right hand side. So no matter what you share on the left, the fundraising is on the right. And we always wanted those two things to go alongside each other. And as a byproduct of that, all of your event sponsors are going to continue to be seen in that process as well. So one thing you might note is that this is really not leaning on peer-to-peer particularly hard. Many of the events that have done this they've used peer-to-peer a little bit, like the host committee on Pink Frog, but it just felt like that was an added layer of work that a lot of you didn't need to add to your event. If your event is already peer-to-peer, a walk or something like that, then just keep leaning into that network of people and lean into that process. But no need to add peer-to-peer on top of an event where you're not already using it a lot. I thought, let's make this simple. So it's just simple, changing out headers, changing some content, putting a tool in the hands of, sending it out to your guests and to your host committee, and just continuing to talk about the story that you told at the event for 30 days and establishing that others can be a part of the process with you. So let's head back into our. Again, I want to make sure that you are seeing my screen, and I think you are. Any questions? I'm going to throw this over here so I can see it if you ask. And let's jump one more. Let's go. Let's keep going. Let's see. Okay. This is actually my favorite slide. I like the content on this slide the best. So I'm glad you stuck with it. Step 5 is really, it's not a step. It's really about, it's a 4-week long campaign, and it's all story driven. And here's a timeline for it. So I already said light or no peer to peer. Don't make it too complex. Just keep it consistent. So I was really trying to keep this simple. Most of our clients are small, and you all have more jobs than you can do. So keeping it light. But week 1, the focus will be on just like why this matters. So the problem that you solve, sense of urgency, like join us in this campaign. If you missed the chance to join us on Friday night, join us this month. Create that fear of missing out through pictures. Like, we were so excited to see 300 of our closest supporters. Here's some pictures from the event. Did you miss out? You could still join us with a gift. And then using authority there as well. So don't believe us, believe our mayor. So, and maybe it's a clip from the mayor from that week. And so these are different things you can do in an email or in on social media to further that. But don't just lose. Don't talk. It's got to be a little more than help us solve domestic violence. It's nice to be able to sort of pull in the fear of missing out because I missed the event. What you want them to think too is, oh my gosh, I forgot to donate to my friend so and so who's on the board. That's what you're trying to. I forgot to do that. I couldn't attend this year. I really want to give. So if there's a way to do a drop down where they can note, who at the event they'd like to, to tag with their gift, that's a nice way to loop in that FOMO and let them feel like they can connect their gift to someone at the event. Again, peer-to-peer light, you're not asking your people to share, but it does allow somebody to tag them coming into the system as a way to do that. So, and as you know, with Swell, that can automatically happen. Every guest is a fundraiser. So if you wanted to turn that on post-event, it's there. So do that. Think FOMO and authority and how to create that in the why this matters and why you should join us now. Week 2, let's talk about who it helps. feature someone from your event. Use the clip from your beneficiary or the program or the video that you paid for. If you had honorees, you could also use that in week one. Again, that goes back to authority, all the people we honored. Week two is who, the beneficiary, the program, and then who has joined you. So social proof. So celebrate who made lead gifts. Obviously, respect their anonymity, but talk about who made lead gifts at the event, who raised their hand, who gave, what you raised, how many gave. 100 people gave at our event and helped us reach this. So that's the social proof part and all. So think beneficiary plus social proof, who it helps and who has joined you already in this campaign because of your event. Week three, why now? So what'll happen if you don't give? Like, what happens if we can't do what we do at this organization? And then scarcity is join us in this 30 days so that we can count, so that we can recognize you in a special way. So that creates a little false scarcity right there. Like, you need to do it now. If you do it in a month, we won't have the same transparency around it. So talk about why now, this 30 days, join us now, be a part of this group, be a part of this campaign, which can create a little scarcity in that moment and cause them to give. And then week four is what you make possible. So a countdown to the end, talk about what all of the group, the campaign is making possible. And then when I say what we make possible, I mean what you as nonprofit people make possible. So this leads into reciprocity. So think about the fact that I may give $100, but what I'm reading about that you make possible is like you make possible, extended learning by providing laptops to children in schools, or you help individuals who have a disability, and you make possible that people laugh and smile. You make possible that girls are getting tutored and feel confident and therefore go to college and can lead their families. And there's some amazing stats on that. So, like, the difference in my quick gift to you and what you make possible is a gap. And so that makes it feel like I have given, like, that, wow, that's all I did, and you do all this other. So what I want you to talk to you about is what the donor makes possible and what you do with that is just exponentially greater than that quick gift that someone has made for your event and the campaign. So really brag on what you, the collective, make possible, and through your nonprofit, because it's really big. So you invested in us $100,000 between this event and this campaign, but here's what we did with that, and really talking about how you stretch that, what you do, how you steward it, and brag on yourself in week four and how you do it. So you guys don't brag enough. So brag more. So those are the channels. Email, I put an asterisk beside because that is still a really good tried and true method. Social is great, but you really want to leverage your host committee and board in boosting that. So one way to do that is to send a link to posts that you make to them via email and ask them to just go like it. So just to get some organic lift in there and not pay for the boost, you may need to physically send it out. The website banner, I'm using the Swell site as a campaign site so that you can continue to share pictures and share stories and put video out there that people can visit and give it a little longer shelf life than just the event. So, and I mentioned committee roles already. And asking them to help you out in that process. And then finally, end well. This is really about investing in next year. Close strong by honoring these donors, honor your committee, shed light on them, thank them publicly. Here are some ideas on how to celebrate that impact, and then and to really make people feel good about that they were a part of it, and in whatever way they were a part of it. And because that will mean that next year when it rolls around, they're like, oh yeah, I really, they always say people remember how you make them feel. So this is the make them feel good part of it when you just go into thank you mode after a campaign is over, and have some fun with this. So, but think about this, like it's not the biggest mistake. That's maybe it's too much of a superlative, But to host a great event and to pour all that in it and then to be quiet just leaves a lot of your hard work on the table. And so we really want you to continue to fundraise, continue to flip that into a campaign in whatever way, even if it's a small way. And don't, if you don't do any of this, and just ask your host committee to share the site one more time in the week after the event. I mean, with your pictures or something like you could pick one thing here and just extend it as far as you can with the bandwidth that you have. And that's better than not doing it at all. So just going and using that content for as long as you can, because you've put a lot of work into into your events. See, I'd even called it a campaign. Um, so yeah, think of your event as the spark. It's not the end, it's the beginning. So, which might be hard to think about when you're in the throes of planning it, but the event is the spark. So, and we love to help you be a part, help you do that, and using the software well to be that spark. So, with that, we look forward to seeing you next month for Just One Thing. And as always, you know that we are available to you at support@swellfundraising.com. We want to help your events be as strong as they are. If you need an offline to help you think about it, we love to do that. I love to do that. Have a great afternoon. And from the bottom of our hearts as well, thanks for all you do in the community and letting us be a part of your story. Have a great